That's right. And then the nurturing and the protecting of your confidence should be your priority. There are many people, friends, family, coworkers, teachers, or even strangers who are uneasy with your confidence, with your success, or even your demeanor. They're all part of the environment that Gary was speaking of. We call them sentinels, and they aren't necessarily wanting to crush your confidence. Well, not all of them. In some cases, yes, but other times, they are actually trying to help you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks, thanks for joining us, and we're so glad to have you on another episode of the Infinite Wisdom Experience. Today, today's cool. Today we want to talk about one of the most powerful forces that shapes your life, confidence. It's the foundation of your self-esteem and plays a crucial role not only in your personal life, but also in your professional relationships. So let's start by exploring how confidence is created. First, we need to understand what confidence truly is, because it's not just a feeling, it's a belief in your abilities and your judgment. Confidence identifies in two different types. There's self-confidence, which is internal, and situational confidence, which can vary depending on the context. Then each of these can be measured in various degrees. So, how do we build this vital trait? Well, the first factor is self-awareness. And this means knowing and understanding your strengths and your weaknesses. For instance, if you're a great public speaking, okay, but struggle with numbers, for example, okay, acknowledging this can help you focus on improving your math skills while leveraging your speaking abilities. Okay, so I've spoken to thousands of people at a time about business, neuroscience, personal growth. Piece of cake. Okay, but now ask me to do complicated math from the stage. Well, that's a whole different story. And there would be quite a bit of hesitation. Now, given time to strengthen and develop my math skills, my confidence would increase substantially as well as my performance. Or, better yet, understand my weakness and simply delegate it to Gary.
Hey, what?
so,
Hold
so
on. How'd I get roped into this?
slip that one right in there because I'm very confident in you. So next we have skill development. And you see, just saying you're confident will only go so far. And like I said earlier, confidence is all about belief. And it stems from your competence in a subject or skill and then how you project it out.
Yeah, well, so hey, welcome everyone to episode 157, 5 steps to engaging your confidence superpower. I want you to think about when you were learning a new skill, okay? Like playing a musical instrument, for example. At first,
Or math.
it can, or what? Or
Or
math.
math.
Well, I can't say that because I'm actually really good at math. So it can feel pretty daunting. Okay, and but with practice and perseverance, that initial struggle starts to transform into something beautifully masterful. Now, every time you hit a new note or a math question or equation for Ross, but every time you do it perfectly, right, your confidence starts to grow, right? And equally important to competence comes cultivating a positive mindset. Now, this involves challenging negative self talk. Instead of saying, I can't do this, or reaffirming the belief system that I'm not good at this, try reframing it to, I will learn how to do this. Or there's got to be a way for this to be fun, or something like that. So this can begin to shift in thinking, then create the shift in thinking and significantly boost your confidence. But again, remember, there needs to be more than just positive thinking. You need positive doing. All right. So even though positive thinking can be it can be self-sustained, it's critical and critically important to create a and maintain a supportive environment around yourself as well. Okay, because being surrounded with encouraging people can make a world of difference. I mean, how many of us have been in a classroom setting where if you have a teacher or even someone else who's you can lean on, it makes that learning so much easier and so much better, right? Or if when we have mentors or role models who believe in us, it reinforces our own self belief, right? If you think of a coach who encourages you during tough times, for example, they help you to see your potential instead of the limitations, right? They show you ways to continually nurture that potential instead of falling into the negative self talk or old patterns of the past, right? And with each step, it compounds your confidence.
That's right. And then the nurturing and the protecting of your confidence should be your priority. There are many people, friends, family, coworkers, teachers, or even strangers who are uneasy with your confidence, with your success, or even your demeanor. They're all part of the environment that Gary was speaking of. We call them sentinels, and they aren't necessarily wanting to crush your confidence. Well, not all of them. In some cases, yes, but other times, they are actually trying to help you, protect you, and keep you safe. Oddly enough, though, they accomplish this by chipping away at your confidence, by throwing small jabs of self-doubt. And and here's the rub. It's generally their self-doubt. It can stem from their insecurities, their doubts, and jealousies. And sometimes they don't want you to get hurt doing something they don't understand or something that they've tried and failed at, or by having you pushing the boundaries that they never could. And regardless of their reasons, thank them for sharing. Thank you for their thoughts. Thank you for them caring about you. And you'll take it under advisement. And then you turn to yourself and you say, confidence in me is the key.
And as we've said in many of our streams before, learning new techniques is a crucial habit to develop for yourself, right? You're not doing it necessarily for others. You're doing it for yourself because this is for this to happen, for it to happen successfully in the long term, it's important to understand a habit, technique, talent isn't sustainable if it only works in a perfect world. Okay. And so this is when resilience and adaptability become crucial aspects of your persona. Now, no one needs to remind you that life is full of turbulence and setbacks, right? Right? But how you respond to these events is what defines your confidence. So when faced with challenges, view them as another learning opportunity. From a business professional to asking someone on a date, one who faces rejection can use that experience to refine their approach for the next opportunity. If they don't, then poor confidence isn't the real problem. All right. One essential strategy is setting realistic goals. And there's different degrees of this because it depends on your level of confidence in something. Because if you have zero confidence, then yeah, set realistic goals. If you have some level of confidence, you want realistic goals that kind of push to the edge. So you're growing in that, not settling for, right? So when you set achievable goals, and that's what I mean by achievable goals, it's within your range of knowing you can do, but it pushes you a bit so you can grow and expand and evolve. right? When you set those achievable goals, you'll experience a sense of accomplishment, which continues to fuel your confidence. And then the next time you go back, guess what? You can now stretch a little further and a little further, and to a point when you can start to set those really ridiculous ones because you know there's a confidence that can back that up. But if you don't have that confidence to back it up, then you're going against the grain, right? For example, if you aim to read one book a month instead of five, right? You're more likely to succeed and feel proud of your progress if you know that you can, half a book or three-quarters of a book is doable, right? But if you really not confident that you can do even that, then setting for five is just way too beyond. Now there are some people, I know some people, my daughter, one of my daughters, she reads 4 or 5 books a month, right? She's got the time, she's got the resources, and she's practiced the skill. She's got that confidence, right? So when one book a month is mastered, you then move to two. And each accomplishment exponentially raises your confidence, not just in reading, but everything that you do.
Mhm. So, and another important aspect is continuous self-improvement. And this means always seeking to enhance your skills. And we thank you for letting us be a part of this aspect of your life. And just to let you know, you can find all of our live stream trainings on our YouTube channel, and the link's going to be in the comments. But because we are continually putting out this type of content, we've been doing this for Gary, how long has it been? 6 years, I think. So
Yeah, I'd
there's
imagine.
lots and lots there. We've talked about confidence in the past, but now we're really, really starting to narrow it down. So whether it's taking a course or attending workshops or asking for feedback, these actions will show a commitment to growth. So let's say you're a manager or who regularly seeks feedback from their team. This not only improves your leadership skills, but also boosts their confidence as they implement these changes. And that's their compliment in themselves and their confidence in you. And lastly, you must surround yourself with positivity. And this includes engaging with people who lift you up rather than tear you down. If you find yourself in a continuing negative environment, leave. Just leave. It's essential to seek out those who inspire and encourage you. And in return, you'll do the same for them. So let's now discuss why self confidence is so vital in your everyday lives and business relationships. In our personal lives, confidence affects our decision making and how we interact with others. Confident individuals tend to take risks, whether it's trying a new hobby or speaking up in a meeting. They inspire others with their assurance and their positivity.
And in the business world, confidence in me is the key. It's the key to building strong relationships. When you approach negotiations with self-confidence, you project trustworthiness and credibility. Think of successful entrepreneurs who confidently pitch their ideas to investors, right? Their belief in their vision can many times sway the decisions and lead to really significant partnerships. So if you've ever watched, like Shark Tank, for example, right? Or I think that's up here we have it. It's called Dragon's Den. Um, and you'll witness the difference between those who get the deal and those who don't. And there's a common factor, right? So why is that? Well, like real sharks, right? Like real sharks that smell blood in the water, these sharks, right, or dragons can
Or dragon.
sense genuine confidence. And that's where they're going to invest their time and money. Makes a huge difference. So we're assuming you want to get that deal, right? That date, that promotion, right? Whatever it is. So here's this week's 5-step confidence building exercise or micro hack. Okay. So we're going to take you through a practical exercise here to help you reinforce your confidence starting today. All right. Follow these simple 5 steps. Right. And go ahead and feel free to jot these down, make any notes as we go along. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We'll come back and respond to them. Step one is self reflection. Okay. So you want to spend about 5 minutes on this. So what you want to do is you want to take a few moments to think about your strengths and your accomplishments. Right? We talked about that a little earlier, right? Things that you know you're already good and confident in, right? Write down at least 3 things you excel at or that you're proud of. And they don't have to be necessarily related to the thing that you want to master or you want to the outcome you want to have. Okay? If they do, great. If not, doesn't matter. Just that feeling of strength and accomplishment, that confidence in something else. Okay. Could be anything from a skill that you've mastered, or just a personal achievement, or even just some positive feedback that you received at some point. Okay. And the purpose of doing this is to help you to recognize your capabilities and to start to build a foundation for confidence. So spend about 5 minutes just to do that self-reflection. Okay. And start to immerse yourself back into those memories, those thoughts, those ideas, those feelings. Right? Then step two is to then from that place set a realistic goal. Now remember I said realistic doesn't mean you're settling for, it means it's something you know is doable but still is going to push or stretch you. Okay? So reflect on a goal that you've been wanting to achieve, whether it's personal or professional, and write down just one specific achievable goal. Again, you want to do it in doable segments, because if you write down 100, you're setting yourself up for failure. Right? So just start with one and build from that. Test it out. Don't change the formula yet. Test it out the way we're asking you to. Okay. So instead of saying and make it specific as possible. So instead of saying, I want to get fit, right? Be more specific. I will walk for 30 minutes 3 times a week. Right? What is that you're going to do, or what does fit mean for you? So be very specific on what the goal is. Right? Because otherwise, then you're like, if think of a goal like a bullseye target, right? A bow and arrow. Otherwise, you've got all these different targets out there, and your unconscious mind, the goal-seeking mechanism, has no idea which one to shoot for. Right? And when it lets go of the arrow, it just ends up anywhere randomly. And so that's kind of what happens. So be specific. And, when you do that, it helps to clear the path to success, which again then boosts your confidence as you start to make progress. So again, using the bullseye analogy, right? So if the archer pulls the arrow and lets it go, if he or she is watching that arrow and sees that it's not going towards the target, its confidence in hitting the bullseye goes out the door. So as you let go of your arrow and do the actions, right, you start to see it's moving towards the bullseye or the target, then your confidence in knowing you're going to get there increases. Okay. And then step three, once you've done that, then you want to engage your unconscious, your full subconscious, unconscious, superconscious, whatever terminology you want to use, your fullness of who you are and your resources, the other 95% of your brain that you're not consciously active or utilizing. So you're going to visualize. Okay. Step three is you're going to visualize that success in as much detail as possible, right? As much sensory detail as possible. Close your eyes, visualize yourself successfully achieving that goal. And you want to visualize and get the feeling of what it's like when you know that it's complete. That's where you want to get to. Right? Imagine the steps that you'll have to take and how you'll feel once you've accomplished it. That's the feeling you want to harbor. Okay, you want to harness that. Okay, so for example, picture yourself confident presenting an idea in a meeting or completing a project, but not just the surface level. I want you to think about, where are you specifically when that's happening? right? When it's happening. So the time of day or the time of year, notice the variables in your environment. What are the things that, like the people, the objects that confirm that that's a reality experience? And also visualize the actions that you're taking. What is it that you're doing? Right, so you're fully encompassing that visualization experience with the elements of reality, the space where it's happening, the time when it's occurring, the energy of the actions it's going, and the matter, the things that actually space, time, energy, matter. Put that into that visualization. Okay, and you want to spend about 5 minutes doing that. Right, then you want to do some positive. So once you've done that, you're going to then declare your reality. You're going to do a statement, a positive statement of declaring your reality. Okay. So create 3 positive declarations that resonate with you. A declaration is different from an affirmation. We're not strong advocates of affirmations, especially the way they're taught in most cases. A declaration of reality is different from an affirmation because a declaration of reality is a statement that has truth and evidence that backs up what you're saying. Okay, not wish and hope that it might be someday, which is what most affirmations are. Right? So a good declaration for this one, because we're working on confidence, a declaration of reality is confidence in me is the key. Now we can confirm that, right? We know that when we do things with confidence, it's the key to getting things done. We've talked about some examples. So there's verifiable facts and evidence that that statement is true. So therefore, it holds more weight when we're creating our reality. So we're declaring that reality. Okay. And you want to spend 2 or 3 minutes repeating the declarations just over and over, feeling what they feel like when you repeat them, right? And when you say them with confidence and certainty into the out into the ethers, right? And declaring those realities can help to shift your mindset and even reinforce your self-belief. And then step number 5 is just commit to inspired actions. Okay, but you commit to inspired action. So don't just commit to doing anything because people get busy work all the time. You want inspired actions. Inspired actions are actions that bring you joy, that feel right, that seem to align with synchronicity in some way, shape, or form. That lets you know that hey, this is happening for the right time, at the right place, for the right person, for the right reason. Right? So think about what those inspired actions are, could be, and write down some of the non-negotiables that you have to do. For example, if I'm gonna do the bow and arrow scenario, right? And I want to hit the target, one of the actions I need to do, I can't just visualize this and I can't hope that it happens. One of the things I need to do is I need to have a bow and arrow. Right? I need to put the arrow in the bow, pull it back. These are actions I have to take, right? And then my inspired action is when I feel that it's the right timing, my inspired action says, let go. And I trust and honor that. Okay. So I'm going to write down what the action steps are that you need to do and then follow the inspired actions that come along with that, that guide you. Because sometimes, even for the bow and arrow example, right? So sometimes I may pull my bow and arrow, see the target there, and inspired action says, you know what? That target over there is better. So inspired action says, let me do that instead, and then move, and then redirect because I'm followed what brings me joy, and I allow that to guide me to what's going to bring me the outcome that I want. Okay, but I wrote down the steps of getting the bow, getting the arrow, making sure I have target or targets to move towards, right? And then doing the action steps of what I need to do to get in position to let that arrow go. And then all along the way, maybe it's, hey, maybe this arrow is going to be better. So along the way, I'm tuning into what the inspired action is that's going to make that process more in alignment with the truth of who I am. Okay, so for example, if we're doing the exercise thing, right? Then one of the things you can do is you can schedule 30-minute walks for Monday, 30-minute walks for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. right? You can schedule that. And then on the walk, you're tuning into the inspired actions that are showing up because of you're doing that initial step that needs to be there. And then commit to those actions and reinforce it, and of reinforcing your confidence in that on that path to success that you're reaching for. Okay, so as you complete these steps, remember that building confidence is a continuous journey. It's not a one-time thing, right? So by reflecting on your strengths, setting goals, visualizing that success, declaring your beliefs and your reality, and taking action, you're actively reinforcing your confidence every day.
So, moreover, confidence is not just an intrinsic trait. It's something that we can create. In other words, you're not just born with it. It's like, oh, he's just born confident. It's like, I can't be like that. It's like, no, you can create it and you can maintain it through self-awareness, skill development, and a positive mindset, of course. It's essential for personal fulfillment and professional success. When we believe in ourselves, we are more likely to pursue opportunities that may initially feel out of reach. Gary was saying this, just like go for something that's just a little bit uncomfortable. And like the ones that your sentinels are warning you about. So we encourage each of you to take small steps every day to cultivate your superpower. And remember, it's a journey and every effort counts. So as we wrap up today, we want to let you know to go boldly through your life now. We want to leave you with a little something that we say every week. That we dare you to be exceptional. Not average, not me, not I'll try again on Monday. We mean today and tomorrow and every day thereafter. And to be exceptional in this way is easier than you think. And all you have to do is implement what you learn and learn from what you implement. That's the secret. That's the secret to greatness right there. Short little sentences. So thanks for spending some time with us. Whether you're watching us live or catching the replay, we don't take your attendance lightly. We don't take you for granted. If you could have been anywhere today, but you chose to be here with us and spend time with us, learn from us, and we thank you so much. So we'll catch you next week on the next Infinite Wisdom Experience.
Be well, everyone.
Bye-bye.